Hi everyone, so this is my top 64 deck profile. So I use this to get top 64 and my friend Danny, he used it to get top 16 as well. So we both played the same list, went through lots of testing, so we'll just get in the list straight away. So I'll start with the Ishizu cards. Played 3 Keldor, 3 Medora, 3 Kelbeck and 2 Agido. This is all we played for the Ishizu cards, so we played for the Fairy cards as well. We sort of last minute decision was to cut the third Agido. The reason why we wanted to cut the third Agido is because at the last minute was because we realised like how many mirrors and like how many tier elements we're still going to actually be playing, because we were sort of expecting the new cash deck to be popular months ago. So that's why we're on the max mills. But we cut the third Agido and the Herald on the day because there was so much more mirrors, and we didn't really want to be milling the mirror because of the new tier cash card. It's really easy for the mills to get out of control, especially if you mill them. You can't necessarily always deal with their stuff anymore because they have a free mill free at every point. And we wanted minimum number of 2 Agidos so that you could search one off Keldor and summon it after having already milled one. And obviously the card's really good to mill anything other than a mirror. It's what you want, and it makes Dweller, which is really cool. So now we're going to get into the tier cards. So 2 Rhino Heart, 3 Shirin, 3 Haviness, 3 Merly. So stall, super standard. Standard ratios, again, the 5 normal summon theory, and the fact that Rhino is just not very good draw a lot of the time, but you do want to mill it, so I can't see the reason for 3, but we stuck with 2, worked out pretty well. 3 of the new card, so Danny took some convincing on this. He ended up buying them on the day of. I bought these a little bit earlier. Basically, I wasn't convinced on this for the longest time, because I was like, if you banish it, a card, summon this, mill 3, and you miss, it's such huge neg. And it gives the Kashira player a monster on the board to just lock all your zones in standby in draw phase. So that was really bad. But what you got to understand about this card is, if you were, this has a chance of letting you win the game. Before you had no chance of winning the game, so you might as well have a chance and play this card and miss off it, lose whatever, but at least that's a chance, because sometimes you hit off this and it's really good. It's worth going for the chance than it is to not have any at all, so that's why we played this. And as well, makes the deck a lot more consistent because it's a mill free. It's an extra name for Kit Kalos. Makes a lot of time when you summon the kit, you can bring back this, and you don't have to search them early. But obviously you want to search them early because it's level 2, but you know, you can get a mill 8 without searching them early by playing this card, so I thought it was good. I summoned it in my opponent's turn a few times, got some good mills, got a good mill on feature. Yeah, I didn't really come up too often, didn't really seem to draw it that often, but when I did draw it, it was really good. It was more like the mid games, and it was just letting me push through extra stuff, and it's 2 free bodies, so it's pretty good. Spell is very standard. So I suppose the only thing that we can talk about here is obviously Instant Fusion, Terraform, Planet Standard. The other thing we can talk about is the Screams. We were on 3 Scream for the longest time. It was just to keep the deck more consistent, but as we added the tier cash and realised the deck got really, really consistent, you didn't need the 3rd Scream anymore. And we wanted quite a large number of going second cards, and we want to try and keep the deck count as low as possible. We ended up settling on 43, but yeah, just keeping it as low as possible, cut them on screen. I feel like with 2, there's always enough to use it to affect 2 search traps, so that's good. And that's one of, well, both effects in certain screen, to be honest. We played 1 Sulik and played 1 Prime. I know a lot of people were on just 2 Sulik, but for me, you already have to play Scattershot on the side, and I don't want to play Crime on the side and be working with a 13 card side deck. It's just not something I want to do. So I'd rather main Crime, and with the tier cash card, if you do end up milling, say banishing a name with this, you mill this, and you can always add it back. So this was live in this build with this a lot longer than, well, a lot more often than it was in previous builds. But obviously still looks crack to mill. But the crime is really good because crime just lets you play so ignorantly, because you've always got an out to, well, a way to stop whatever their out might be. So that puts us on, I think that's 34 cards of engine. So to get to 43 we had 9 non-engine. For these slots, to be honest, these tier caches were non-engine for the longest time, so we saw 12 non-engine spots in 43. But this is good because just another having it just gets you into your engine more consistent, so that was definitely worth playing, which left us with 9 non-engine. Basically the Friday before the YCS we sat down, we played 10 mirror matches, something ridiculous, and we could not beat each other going second, so we decided to really max out on all the good Bestials. This is ridiculous. This Bestial is absolutely, if you draw this, like, this is the best one to draw with either of these two, because 2 Bestials becomes 3 interruptions. It's ridiculous how good this card is, and just being able to tribute from your own field as well. Even this on its own, if you resolve a hardness or something, can become multiple interruptions. There was obviously thinking about cutting sort of one of these, or maybe one of these for a Saranir or 2, but I'd rather just have, if that comes up where I draw multiple of these, which it did, I did draw multiple Baldrakes and stuff. The chances of that happening compared to the chance I would have seen a Saranir and it being useless, whereas these two just apply so much pressure. And I was really happy in the Bestials because I ended up playing loads of mirrors, so that was really good. I played a couple of Sprites, so the Bestial was really good against Sprite. And they also get you into level 6s and the out extenders, so they literally do everything. So that was the main deck at 43. Genuinely would not change anything out of this entire deck at all. I couldn't think of a card to cut. Everything was really, really good, and I felt like when I lost, it was because I got sacked and there was no way I was ever winning that game anyway, no matter what cards I had anyway. So we'll get to the extra deck. 2K have to play it because of they decided to make a mechanic that banishes from your extra deck face down for some reason. Rukalos obviously didn't really want to end Rukalos Dweller that often. Was trying not to, but sometimes you had to, and obviously the time I had to, I got Super Poly, but it is what it is. Kaleido Heart, it's unbelievable. Mud Dragon, Garura, and Dragstapelia. I think these are pretty fixed. I know there was thought of dropping some of these in the earlier list, but I think everyone's realised that all those are mandatory. So the 7 fusion monsters, and then we'll go through some more mandatory stuff. So Sprinting Dark is the links, everyone playing now. Zeus, Dweller, Baguska, these seem the absolute staple 12 extra check slots, and the last one sort of seemed up to interpretation. One that people were cutting, which didn't understand why, was the Elf. I have no idea why people were cutting Elf. I literally made Elf every single game. It does too much, and that's exactly why it got banned. It does too much. The fact that some people were cutting Elf, I just thought was absolutely crazy. And now you sort of got the Beatrice and the Redoer slot, which a lot of people played, and I played Wallow as my sort of Beatrice spot. I preferred this because we practice milling a mirror so much, and this is obviously insane when you mill a mirror. And I got IP Avamaxed round 1 of the tournament, and this was the only way I could out it. To tribute some to Magnum and use this extra boost for attack over. I used this to go for game multiple times. I used this to steal cards, set them, instant fusion, play on, because it just makes like double Bestial. And then if you double Bestial them and they somehow play through it, and you have this card in your extra deck, that guarantees every one of those games. Because I have still won through being double Bestialed, and I have been beaten when I have double Bestialed. So it's just nice to have the one card in your extra deck that just does so much. And to be honest, I never really needed a Beatrice at all, and I never really wanted to make a Beatrice. I feel like Beatrice only comes up turn 1, and I'm not really bisting people turn 1, so that was where I played Wallow. And then I played Exciternate. I didn't resolve this all tournament, actually, but it got ripped, so it did its job. It got ripped instead of the Zeus, which then, if they've got something to target that could possibly mess you up, you can make Baguska and Zeus them. And obviously, if they've got nothing to target, you just use the Dweller, because that's worse than that matchup. But this Exciternate was there, and I mean, I never played any trap decks, you know, that would really lose this. And the times I played Sprite, I was either winning really quickly, or I got so sacked that I couldn't even summon this anyway. So it's pretty good, and it's nice to have this available turn 1 as well. If the board gets too crazy, you can Exciternate turn 1, and you might be able to play afterwards as well. So going to the side, I took a really, because obviously the main was completely catered towards tier, and board breakers aren't that good against tier. I took a real board breaker approach to the side deck. So we played 3 Eclipse. Yeah, played 3 Lunar Eclipse. Played 3 Dark Hole. These are the main sort of huge, highly impactful going second cards that we played. But the thing I liked about Lunar Eclipse as well is that you could side Lunar Eclipse and go in first, and you could trigger your tiers and get lots of effects that way. So that was really cool. And then I played 2 Nib. So these were the 11 sort of hard breakers in the deck. These all went in against Kashira. Putting the Exciternate in the X deck makes Dark Ruler just so much better against Kashira, because you can just get away with Dark. You can get away with Dark Ruler on the whole board, and then exciting them if they don't rip the Exciternate. If they rip them with Dragon, because they think you're on Suit Poly. Yeah, so I never resolved Book of Eclipse because I never drew it. I never resolved Nib, but I drew it as a 6 card in my top 64 match, which obviously I lost. So it would have been great if it wasn't the 6th card. But when I milled it, my opponents would start to play around it, and just seeing a Nib in the grave was just doing so much. But in testing, when I was playing against Danny, because we practiced all the mirror matches against each other, so every mirror match we played, between the two of us, we went absolutely insane in the mirror match because we just played that many. But he resolved this against me, and it was just lights out. I mean, this card here is so good against here. If there's some interruptions going on, but it's also really good against Kashira because they have no way of playing around it. So it just seemed a really good card to have inside for Kashira and Tia. So something that gives sort of 2 follow-ups. So when we go second, we tied out Screaming the Crime and put these 2 in. Obviously, Lunar Eclipse mentioned going first breaks the card. Going first really good against Bright and Kashira and Flunder as well, I suppose. And it breaks the cash board. Obviously, discarding the Ishizu card's broken. Dark Ruler. These cards inside, like Dark Ruler is one of them, the main one of them, just got so much coverage. Like, it goes in against Kashira, goes in against Sprite, goes against Flunder. And when your deck is so built for one matchup, you want really diverse cards on the side. Then we've got side the cards. We've got 2 Twins and a Heartbeat. I'm never playing an event without at least 3 Twin Twisters or 3 Cosmic Cyclones or 2 Twins and a Heartbeat if it's a searchable out within the engine to out some Spell Traps. I'm just not entering on without it. And I'll always go on to say that Twin Twister is literally the FTK versus Flunder, so that's always nice. It's nice to have more cards versus Flunder. I didn't end up playing a Flunder, but if I did, you know, at least I've got a lot of coverage for that. It's also really good to go in first against a lot of matchups. Like I said this in going first against Kashira, so that's pretty good. Heartbeat, like I say, searchable engine out. You want to be making a kit in their turn, searching this or any out. The last card, Scattershot. So it's really a 14 card side because you sort of have to include this. I only went into time where I needed to use this once, and I couldn't play it. I couldn't do Elf Sprint. So Ian Perms a Scattershot. Ian Perms a Sprint. Pass. We draw. So yeah, that was the deck. I know I rambled on quite a bit there, but I'm going to go into more detail with the siding patterns and why we thought, like the theory behind building the deck and why the main deck was what it was. And I'll go over the siding patterns as well. And then so that'll be in the next video, and I'll just quickly do some shout outs now. So a shout out to my mate Johnny, constantly, messaging me, supporting me, telling me best player in the game, that sort of thing. And then obviously Danny, you got top 16, we played the same deck. Mate Carl, he got top 64 with Kashtira, so he was good to test against. All the people who I went with, really good crack, everyone at my locals. Spoke with Holborn at the event as well, he was sound. Met him for the first time. Everyone else at the event was really good. I like speaking to everyone. Nice to catch up with some people, especially the UK scene's quite close knit when you go abroad, so it's good. Then I'll quickly go into the round by round. So I played Sprite, beat that 2-0. Played Grand Marju for some reason, round 2. Beat that 2-0. Played Ishizu tier. Mirror, my first mirror, I lost the roll, won that 2-0. Adventure Ishizu tier, lost the roll, won that 2-0, so I'm 4 at this moment in time. Played against Ishizu tier, the guy absolutely sacked me, so I went 4-1. Played against Ishizu tier mirror, I won that one. Played against Sprite, the guy sacked me so hard, he bestialed me 5 times in 2 turns, I was so sick. And then I played against Liberal Mechanical on stream, won that, didn't have a clue what those cards did, just made Alpha Goose go and it got me there. Shout out to Danny for that one. Round 9, played Ishizu tier, beat that 2-1, I lost the roll. Round 10, Ishizu tier, we drew that one because that's the one where you input my sprint. Kashtira, 2-0 that. Round 11, round 12, Ishizu tier mirror. I went first, absolutely sacked him, and then game 2 we bricked, so it was nice to get into the top cut. Played top cut, won the roll, got shifted. He had the out to the Baguska. I won game 2, and then game 3 starts off Gravecube's inscription, full compost, me and Nibiru 6 cards. So got knocked out in top 64. So as an overall view, played 1 Liberal Mechanical, 1 Grain, 2 Sprite which I lost 1 against, 2 Cash which I lost 1 against, and then I played 5 mirrors where I lost 1 of them and drew 1 of them. So yeah, that's the recap, and I'll go into more details about the siding patterns and stuff in the video, so cheers for watching.